Hello, my not-in-the-face friends. I am Ken, one of your fight captains, and sometimes your friendly neighborhood Feldegast. But today, we're going to do our regular Wednesday fight practice. But we're going to do it while social distancing, like good citizens. I thought today, since last week, we looked at some 5-block with footwork. I thought today we would start by refreshing on that once or twice, and then look at the lunge, extensions with the thrust. There's a bunch of different ways that we can do that, and a lot of different ways that we can get there, usually used with a cut or thrust, or cut and thrust type of sword, like a rapier, a small sword, or kalishimard, like I'm carrying today, or foil, perhaps a saber, or basically any straight or extremely pointy blade. Of course, you can use your standard cross or cruciform hilted broadsword with most of these thrusts as well. So we're going to look at that. This is again going to be mostly one-handed, although at some point we might bring out a second weapon, a dagger, but we'll see how far we get. For now though, let's go back and review on 5-block for stage combat. This is my kalishimard, which we're going to use today. Got my scabbard here, which I'm just going to take off, get it out of the way. So, if you'll remember, your on-guard stance is shoulder length apart at a diagonal, chest facing forward, back straight. You should have your knees well bent, and you should, as I like to call it, squeeze the grate with your butt cheeks to keep yourself in the right posture. Sword should be appropriately in front of you in the on guard. You can also do a fancier on guard there. There's always on point, and there's a nice high on guard, which is known as on this side prime or prime, and if you're going to do it on this side, it's known as quart. So you can do any of those, but we're going to start here for now with our 5-block, and I'm going to back up and come forward in a advance, and then I'm going to retreat, and then I'm going to come forward with a passing step, and I'm going to retreat also with a passing step to go through all the motions. You can follow along if you wish. Here we go. That's your basic 5-block as we learned last week. Remember, your goal, I don't know how well I achieved it, is to keep your head on the same plane as you move backwards. So that's why your knees should stay bent. As you extend and move back and retreat, you should keep your head on the same level, same upon the advance as much as possible. That way you are maintaining contact with your target, eye contact and otherwise. Still waiting for that car to go by. We may be social distancing, but there's still traffic. All right, so we're going to take a look today at the lunge, or the extended thrust. So of course, when we thrust, we typically are talking about pushing the blade out forward in order to use the tip. Of course, we remember that if we are in measure or within reach of our opponent, we always stay offline to outside our bubble. If we are out of measure, so farther away from our opponent than we could conceivably reach, then we can be online or on target to our opponent for that particular combination of moves. However, with the lunge, we are extending our reach. So with the lunge, we are almost never on target because we start from such a great distance away, it generally doesn't play to be even farther away and attempt a lunge. You have to lunge usually off target or offline outside the bubble and count on your opponent to either dodge or block depending on what your choreography is. So the basic lunge begins in your standard on guard. The trick with the lunge is that you should never move before your sword. Your sword should go before your body. That way your opponent knows your target. So you're here, you're on guard. Let's say I'm targeting a 3 on my opponent. So I move the sword first to the 3. In this case, I am in a supinated grip on my hand. You can also do pronated, but I prefer to do supinated when I'm crossbody. So I go to a 3. I'm also left-handed here, so sorry about that, guys. I'll try this again right-handed in a minute. So I extend my sword, then I lean forward so that I'm in the position to move, but I keep my head up. Remember, don't lean with your head. You can't watch your opponent that way. I bring my body, and then I step into a long step so that I can get my full reach. Never extending my knee past my toe. That's hyperextended, it's overextended, and you will be off balance here. Always make sure that your knee to your heel is a straight up and down line, perpendicular with the ground. Your back foot should be perpendicular to your front foot, which should point forward. Your back foot can be sideways like this, bracing you against the ground, and you should be well balanced and steady here as you are extended. Now, you should have as little lean forward as you can, because you do not want your face to be there, but your arm is fully extended here, so that you are offline of your opponent, whose target should be there, approximately. So, I'm going to try that right-handed for you now, although you're watching me on the screen, so maybe the left-handed's easier for you, I'm not sure. We're going to look at it both ways. So, we are here, we first choose our target, which I'm going to remain as a 3, this time pronated, there, and extend. Lean with our foot. As you can see, knee remains above the heel, back foot is perpendicular to front foot, which faces forward. Back foot faces that way, in this case my left leg. My arm is fully extended, my back is as straight as possible, and I have extended out. My eye is still on where I'm targeting, which is outside the bubble of my opponent, and they have presumably either blocked or dodged, or died, I guess. The idea is to suddenly have more reach. That is what a lunge is. To suddenly and explosively have more reach than your opponent anticipates. They believe that you are out of measure, too far away, and you know that with this move, you're not. So, that is what we're going to practice. I'm going to do it left-handed because I'm better at it left-handed. My form will be better. Just translate this to the right hand as best you can. Hopefully it's easy enough. So, just to make sure that my feet stay where they need to, I'm going to take a little bit of a step back. It'll be tricky because I have a hill here. All right, there we go. So, we begin here on guard. We are going to do a 4 this time. We extend our sword to point our target for our partner's sake. We reach and we lunge and we return. So sword reach, lunge, return. Sword reach, lunge, return. And then you're just doing this. As many as you feel comfortable doing, and you return. Now, next step on a lunge, there's a couple of different ways that we can do this, of course. That is a traditional advancing lunge. You can, of course, lunge from a lot of different positions. So this is standard on guard, where we extend, reach, and lunge, as we've just been practicing. We can, of course, also lunge from a defensive position here, as I did before when I targeted the 3. Extend, reach, lunge, which gives you a supinated grip as opposed to a pronated grip where your knuckles are up. We've got passing step lunge, which is one of my favorites. It's very tricky. Well, it's not actually all that tricky, but the thing here is you're here. You make sure that your weight is shifted slightly forward instead of perfectly balanced or back. You want it slightly forward so that you can bring your passing step here, extend your lunge. So you still do all the same steps. You point to your target. We're going to do a 4. Point to our target for our opponent's sake. Lean in, but this time we take the passing step forward and we end here. Again, our right leg, I'm left-handed, so my right leg is still perpendicular to my rear. I don't know if you can see, but my left leg, matching my sword hand, is still pointed at my opponent. That is still the rule. So we're going to do this right-handed for you now. This time will target the 3, and I'll show you how the opposite side targeting works in a minute. But we're here, we point to our target, we extend, we bring our back leg, in this case the left, forward and extend. So, as you can see, my rear leg, my left leg, is pointed toward my target. My right leg is pointed toward my target, my right foot. My left foot is pointed to the left and perpendicular. And I've extended my lunge here. You can use your other offhand to maintain your balance, but you should be able to hold this pretty much indefinitely. Well, that's probably exaggerating, but let's take a look at what it looks like if we target crosswise. So this time I'll be left-handed, targeting the 3. As we start here, I extend so my opponent sees my target. I make sure I reach, and then I bring my right leg forward, and I'm here. So as you can see, feet remained exactly the same as they did in the other ways, except my grip is now supinated rather than pronated, and all else stays pretty much the same. Let's do this right-handed. There is my cuff there. One must maintain one's look. All right, so we are here, we are right-handed. This time I'm targeting 4. I'm gripped, supinated. I extend so my opponent sees where the target is going. I extend my shoulder and I bring my leg up. There you go. And now I am in a lunge, a passing lunge. And I return. So let's try that a couple of times. Just to practice, we start with on guard. I'm going to be doing 4s here, same side, so as sword hand. So you may do the same, whatever's comfortable for you. We're going to do 4s, and so we're here, we extend, we reach, we pass. Remember, check your feet. Your sword leg, the same leg as you're holding your sword on, should be pointed towards your opponent. Your other leg that has come forward in the passing step is perpendicular, or as close to as you can manage physically. Remember, don't hurt yourself. This is fun. And return. Extend, lean, and lunge. Return. Extend, lean, and lunge. And extend, lean, and lunge. Return. Extend, lean, and lunge. There you go. All right. So that's a passing step lunge. It's a lot of fun to do. There's a lot of great ways to do it. These are all, as we're practicing here, linear. All of these can be done at an angle. As you can see, if you're fighting multiple opponents or a mobile opponent, you can be in this on guard. You can track your opponent to one side. You can also, as you're tracking, bring here, extend, and lunge. As you can see, you just come off at a different angle. So you can do the same on any side. So opponent moves, you track with them, you extend, and lunge. All right, so you don't have to maintain planar geometry in terms of being in one linear format when you're using a light sword like this or any other sword. You should be thinking at least two-dimensionally, if not three. A little Star Wars or Star Trek mention there for you. All right, let's take a look at. Let's take a look at combining some of these lunges with our 5 block. And no, I'm not making this up as I go along. As you can see, I'm gloved. Social distancing, folks. So, as you've seen, I've done the 5 and 5A. I combined advancing and passing steps throughout, and I did a lunge at 3, followed by another cut at 4. So, we're going to try that again, which was a cut to 1, a cut to 2, a lunge to 3, and a cut to 4, followed by 5 is traditional. And I'm going to alternate my passing and advanced steps. So it's going to be advanced, passing, lunge, which is an advance, passing, advance, passing. So we're going to try that and see how it goes. It's trickier than I thought it would be, getting up the hill there, but that's a combination inserting the thrust, the lunge into the third position. I think that's kind of fun. You can try that as well. One of my favorite ways to use a lunge is on a retreat, or rather as a riposte, where if I was, say, defending a 2, as I retreat, I have defended against the 2, and then, or whatever this would be, and then I turn this into a lunge by controlling their blade and lunging to 4 there. So I'm inside. Now, of course, I've opened myself up, which is why one should always make sure one has a gauche. Gauche, unfortunately, is French for left, which should be in this hand if I was proper duelist or rapierist. However, I'm left-handed and clearly controlled by the devil. That's why my gauche goes in my à droite, or right hand. So, if I were to do this, how it would work is, since I'm holding this here, I want to make sure it's out and functionally usable. I would perhaps retreat and block here, follow that block with my knife in order to control that blade, then turn this here, extend, and thrust, so that I'm controlling this blade here and taking the fight. So, if you have a second blade or just a stick or something else that you want to use here, it does change a lot, and perhaps next week I'll look at how to use two together. But for now, just think about this: a retreat with a block to 2, followed by a catch, and extension, thrust to 4. So, if you have a partner, you can have your other partner be the attacker, and you should, especially when practicing 5 block. If you don't, you can do it just like I have, ghost fighting. For now, I have been your friendly neighborhood Feldgast, Ken, and thank you for joining me yet again. We're going to dismiss together. 1, 2, 3, not in the face. Don't forget, wash your hands, stay socially distanced, take care of each other, reach out if you need to. Love you guys. See you soon.